Hey everybody, it's your friend Kyle Winn, and if you've never seen my videos, I help people just like you buy and sell homes in places like Canyon Lake, Menifee, Lake Elsinore, and the entire Temecula Valley. So here we are mid-August 2022, and that means I have all the data for your market update for the month of July. Now I'm extremely excited to bring you this market update because not only are we going to talk about July 2022, but we're also going to compare that to our market over the first 6 months of this year so we can really see how this market is shifting. Well, thanks so much for stopping by because I am really excited to bring you this market update report for Riverside County. I'm going to give you an overview of what happened in July and compare that to the first half of 2022, and we'll see if we can figure out what will happen in our market for the rest of the year. So starting with the number of new listings hitting the market each month, that tended to increase over the first half of 2022 to its peak in June at 4,429 new listings. But then this dipped to 3,650 in July. Now, while the increase in new listings over the first half of the year brought some relief to the massive buyer demand, we could see competition between buyers increase again if the number of new listings continues to decline for the rest of the year. Now, the number of monthly closed sales increased quickly at the beginning of the year to its peak in March at 3,692, but that quickly declined every month since then to just 2,363 in July. But what if we compare this to the number of new listings that I just told you about that increased over the first half of the year? Well, when we have more new listings than closed sales, we'll see an increase in inventory as well as the days on market, which is the time that it takes for a home to sell. Now, speaking of that, the median number of days on market for properties here in Riverside County was at 16 days in January, down to just 10 days in March, April, and May, but then it jumped back up to 16 days in July. Now, for some perspective on the median days on market, over the previous 10 years or so, we would expect the median number of days on market to be between 30 and 60 days. So even at 16 days now, homes are still generally selling pretty fast. Now, I'm really excited to tell you about month supply in this market update. The month supply is how long it would take to sell all the properties that are currently listed if no new listings came back on the market, knowing the current buyer demand and the rate at which homes are currently selling. Now, back in December, we saw this month supply dip to a record low for Riverside County at only 1.2 months and was actually only 1.3 months in January. But fast forward to July, and this did bump up to 2.3 months, which makes sense given the increase in new listings and decrease in closed sales that we discussed a moment ago. Now, I know that seems like a significant jump, but to give you some perspective, this is typically between 4 and 6 months, which I would consider to be a healthy, balanced market. But with the month supply and days on market as low as they are right now, we're still not seeing quite enough supply for all the buyers that we still have at the moment. Now let's talk about one of the more popular topics, the average sale price. Here in Riverside County, the average sale price was at an all-time high of $653,000 in January, which actually increased to its peak of $711,000 in April. Now, since then, the average sale price has decreased to just $637,000 in July. Now, this is still higher than any time before 2022, but is still a 10% decrease in just 3 months. Now, this data may surprise you, but it isn't too shocking in my mind, because every year the average sale price tends to peak between April and June, and it is not uncommon for that to decrease 5 to 10% over the following 4 to 6 months. Now, we may expect the average sale price to decrease a little bit more over the next couple of months, and if history repeats itself, the average sale price will begin to increase again later this year and into 2023. Now let's talk about another hot topic, mortgage interest rates. Back in January, the average 30-year fixed mortgage interest rate was at 3.45%, which actually increased every month this year so far to its peak at 5.52% in June, and then we finally saw just a little bit of relief at 5.41% in July. Now, I know a lot of buyers out there are sad that you can't get the 2.5% interest rate that your friends got a year or two ago. In fact, it was not common to get an interest rate below 5% until 2009 or 10 after the housing crash in '08. In the early 2000s, interest rates were in the 6 to 7% range. In the 90s, they were in the 7 to 9% range, and they were as high as 18% in the 80s. So if you're looking to buy, don't be too upset that you didn't time your purchase perfectly with those minimum interest rates we saw a year or two ago, because even at about 5% today, that is still relatively low. Well, I know I'm going to keep studying the market here in Riverside County, and I'll continue to deliver updates for you. Now, I suggest you keep an eye on mortgage interest rates and the month's supply of active listings to give you an idea of where the market may be heading. Well, that wraps up my July 2022 market update, but if you have any questions or need any help buying or selling, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, or even drop a comment on this video, and I will see you in the next video.